Ladies and gentlemen, gather around for a tale that rivals the most epic sagas of our time. We're about to embark on a journey into the world of tech turmoil, where floppy disks went to die and the blue screen of death felt like a rite of passage. Yes, hold on to your mouse pads, because we're diving headfirst into the hilarious history of Gateway Incorporated, the company that shows all out not to make a great entrance or exit into the tech industry. I'm Professor Retro, and this is what happened to Gateway Incorporated. Gateway Incorporated started out as TIPC Network by Ted Waitt and Mike Hammond back in September of 1989. Later on, Ted's brother Norman joined the company. After dropping out of college and working in his family farm and then a computer store in Des Moines, Iowa for 9 months, Ted felt he had the knowledge to open up his own computer store that resold computers catering to those who wanted or needed something between the lower end and high end of price range, using educated salesmen who could simply sell you a computer over the phone. However, having the lack of funds, he decided to take out a $10,000 loan with his grandmother and take up the upper floor of his father's old dilapidated cattle brokerage. Soon his co-worker, Mike Hammond, joined him, and together they trained people on how to sell computers, and they started selling peripherals and software for the Texas Instrument TI-99 4A computer that were advertised in computer magazines. However, the TI-99 4A soon was discontinued and was then considered obsolete by 1985. So to try to earn more money from the company, the two decided to try their hand at the subscription-based business model, charging people $20 a month. TIPC soon earned up to $100,000 the first 4 months and thus beat out their competition in the TI-99 4A aftermarket. Soon, in 1986, Ted's brother Norman was hired on as their financial advisor, and later that year they began selling their own homemade computers locally as an experiment, and then changed the name from TIPC to Gateway 2000. And were inspired to sell computers compatible with IBM's hugely successful personal computers in the mid of 1987. During this, Texas Instruments had a rebate program that allowed people will trade in their old model computers, which included the TI-99 4A, to contribute to get a $3,500 rebate on a Texas Instrument PC-compatible system. Feeling that they could do better, Gateway 2000 put out a low-cost system that came with a dual 5.5 floppy drive, color monitor, ample RAM, and a keyboard, all for a low cost of $1,995 through mail order. This was a massive success for Gateway 2000. They earned $1.5 million in 1987 and $12 million in 1988. In January 1990, Gateway moved from Iowa to South Dakota to take advantage of South Dakota's low income taxes. To advertise their system, they created a humorous ad campaign with employees, including Ted himself, standing in pastures, and the theme went on how to ship their PCs in a black and white spotted box just like a Holstein cow. This all contributed to make sure that the cost to the consumer was still low. After posting $275 million at the end of 1990, they felt they were growing too big to handle, so they hired a public accounting firm. And then they poached 6 employees from rival computer companies to flood growth, and soon Gateway created a number of divisions to promote innovation in the company, which included a marketing group with 5 members, a group dedicated to exploring new technologies with 20 members, and an action group, which Ted called a roadmap group, to evaluate product development and choices. And then they hired a media buyer who handled the company's advertising assets and contracts with magazines and other media. By the summer of 1991, Gateway commissioned a 440,000 square foot manufacturing facility to be just down the road from their main headquarters in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That was expected to increase manufacturing by 30%. By the end of 1991, Gateway had posted $626 million in sales. Even with that, Gateway was still struggling to compete with the innovations of their competitors. So to catch up, Gateway decided to segment their marketing to specific needs beyond price and value, and with that, they put out a new product, the Gateway Handbook, a sub-notebook aimed at the executive market. At the end of 1992, Gateway had 200 more employees, thus making their total workforce to 1,700. By the end of 1992, Gateway posted $1.1 billion in sales, all the while avoiding the loss due to the fierce price war ushered in by Compaq, and soon they became the top mail-order computer business in the U.S. Gateway reported their first ever loss the second quarter of 1993, which they attributed to poor quality control, reported at the end of the quarter in 1992. And a segmented roster of products. So to fix this, they put out 2 more products, a notebook with a passive matrix LCD screen, and another sub-notebook. However, in order to stave off the rise of new companies like Dell and IBM in the mail order space, Gateway began to pursue international markets and ramp up their corporate sales by the end of 1993. And then to satisfy the latter goal, they began poaching employees from IBM to create a division that handled major accounts. In September 1995, Gateway commissioned the construction of another massive manufacturing facility costing between $18 million to $20 million in Hampton, Virginia, followed by more in the overseas market, and by the end of the year, Gateway posted $3.7 billion in sales and created their first website on the internet domain gw2gk.com. By 1996, Gateway created the Destination 2000, an early home theater PC that used a large screen Soared TV as a monitor that were designed to consume both home media and multimedia software, and it came with a built-in modem. However, it sold poorly, and after several months, Gateway then began offering the system at discounted rates at retailers like CompUSA. In March of 1997, Gateway opened up brick-and-mortar locations called Gateway 2000 Country Stores. However, they were more like showcases, since none of these locations actually had anything in stock to display where customers could experience the products but still had to order by phone or through their website. I vaguely remember one of these locations was near where I lived at the time to me. That was rather stupid it is, since at the time if you go to Best Buy, try out a Dell they might have had on display and walk out with one the same day instead of looking at one then having to go and call in or order online and wait however long for it to arrive. April 1997, Compaq wanted to buy out Gateway to bolster their mail order presence, and it would have happened if Ted hadn't vetoed the idea. Gateway soon acquired two new companies. The first being Ascom AG, a subsidiary of Amiga Technologies based out of Germany, that filed for bankruptcy the preceding year. Gateway paid $13 million for the patents to Amiga Technologies, was centered mostly on multimedia capabilities. And the second company was Advanced Logic Research Incorporated, a maker of high-end workstations. They did this in a stock sub valued at $194 million. In 1997, Gateway soon phased out the Coliseum in an attempt to appear more mature in their corporate client, and created a new subsidiary called Gateway Major Accounts. And by the end of 1997, they posted $6.25 billion in sales with $1 million in profit. By 1998, Gateway had dropped the 2000 from their name for fear that after the turn of the millennium, the 2000 part would have made them sound a bit antiquated, and changed their name to Gateway Incorporated, and then soon moved the company to La Jolla, San Diego, California, both because Ted wanted to move there and also to be closer to top executive talents at the center of the tech market. This move proved to be a success for Gateway, as they hired more executives including Jeff Waitt, who at the time was a veteran of AT&T, and then they named him the President and Chief Operating Officer of Gateway. Gateway's new direction was to refocus the company in information technology services and software, enterprise financing and training, and consumer hardware and peripherals beyond computer systems, which at the time was a failing market. However, to add to this, Gateway soon created their internet service provider called Gateway.net. This was exclusively offered to their customers and competed with big names like AOL. By June of 1998, Gateway started bundling their now-defunct web browser Netscape Navigator, pre-installed with Microsoft 95 and 98, to which Microsoft bundled their own browser, Internet Explorer. However, Gateway.net saw slow adoption rates and was very prone to outages, and to try to get more people, Gateway started offering one-year free services with Gateway.net to those who purchased the system for $1,000 or more. This promo increased subscribers to 6,000 by October of 1999. They then switched the backbone of their internet for a third time to AOL, where they took over all of Gateway.net in exchange for an $8 million stake in the company. Ted Waitt resigned his position of CEO in December of 1999, thus making Wheaton the new CEO and president. However, Waitt still retained chairmanship. One of Wheaton's first acts as CEO was to approve the disventure of Gateway's Amiga International, selling any remaining Amiga patents and trademarks to Amino Development Corporation, who then later renamed themselves to Amiga Incorporated. During this time, there was a massive downturn of the consumer and personal computer market that had a massive effect on Gateway, who at the time was dependent on the worst hits of small business and home office buyers, incurred a quarterly loss. Waitt started to lay off senior executives and then broke Gateway's tradition of selling via online and phone by selling their PCs via Office Max and home shopping giant QVC. At the start of 2001, seeing the disaster that was Wheaton, Ted booted Wheaton and reinstated himself as CEO and started a massive restructuring of the company to get the company away from service and software back to selling PCs to businesses and consumers, and also rehired those executives that Wheaton laid off and then drastically lowering the prices to compete with HP and Dell. By 2002, Gateway sales dropped to 4.7 million, with the number dropping from 2.4 million to 2.75 million. And at the start of 2002, Gateway then laid off 2,250 employees after they closed 19 of their Gateway country stores, a pair of tech support centers, and internet sales office, and a research and development lab. At the start of 2003, they tried restructuring again by closing 76 more of the Gateway country stores and laying off 1,900 more employees. In 2003, Gateway started to pivot to selling consumer electronics, including 118 new products across 27 new categories, including digital cameras, flat panel TVs, MP3 players, standalone DVD players, home theater PCs with a built-in DVD player, and PDAs. Part of this restructuring was 192 remaining Gateway country stores to sell their new products. Late in 2003, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission filed fraud charges against 3 former executives, Jeff Waitt, former CEO John Todd, and former controller Robert Mansa, stating that the 3 engaged in security violations and misled investors on the actual health of the company. Waitt was cleared of all charges, however Todd and Mansa were found guilty of inflating revenue in a jury trial ending in March 2007. In January 2004, Gateway announced that they had agreed to buy E-Machines for $30 million in cash and $50 million Gateway stocks. This move proved to be successful, since it helped Gateway reclaim their number 3 spot on a list of American PC manufacturings and their 8th spot globally. 1 month later, Gateway moved the whole operations to Orange County, California, and closed any remaining Gateway country stores. And in 2007, Acer Incorporated, a tech company based in Taiwan, acquired Gateway for a massive amount of $710 million, and MPC acquired Gateway's professional services, which dealt with anything dealing with computer networking. Both were finalized in October of that year. Acer rebranded the Gateway branding on their laptops, as they were exclusively sold to Walmart, which was actually a rebranding of Acer's EVVO brand of laptops, and they were partnering with THX for their sound as well. Well, due to short-sighted leadership and investing in failing markets, this was a downfall, in my opinion, of the company, combined with 2 former executives lying to investors in the true health of the company, all brought the company to a slow decline. What was once a massive name in the PC market is nothing more than a name tagged onto Acer laptops sold only at Walmart. Gateway is an example of a company who tried everything under the sun to compete with bigger names like Dell and HP, and yet failed. And there you have it, the spectacular rise and fall of Gateway. It's like they followed the classic recipe of success. Step 1, create an iconic cow-spotted box that makes computers look like they just came out from the Wild Wild West rodeo. Step 2, come up with a catchy slogan that's more unforgettable than a catchy tune stuck in your head at 3 a.m. And finally, Step 3. Well, who needs a Step 3 when you've got cow spots and catchy slogans, am I right? But alas, the most fashionable cows eventually ran out of spots to wear, and Gateway Incorporated hit a bump in the tech highway. Maybe they spent too much time counting spots and not enough time counting bytes, or perhaps they thought computers were just really a fast calculator and didn't realize that they could also play solitaire. Who knows? In any case, Gateway's journey reminds us that in the fast-paced world of technology, you either adapt and evolve like a Pokemon on steroids, or end up as a collector's item on eBay. So here's to Gateway, the company that dared to put the moo in innovation and taught us all a valuable lesson. When life gives you spots, make a fashion statement, just not necessarily a profitable one. With that, I am Reverso Retro, reminding you to hit that like button, ring the bell, and button mash the subscribe button so you get the heads up on my next video. And with that, peace out and game on.